Hello, everyone. Welcome. Oh, Zoom gave me some very pink lips. I actually don't have lipstick on, but Zoom did that. Anyhow, welcome to our kickoff session of ATC, Adjusting to Change Toolkit, ACT. Sorry. Friday. This is the first class of 6 weeks. I'm really happy to be here. I'm not going to take up much time because James always likes to get things going and talk about how the next 6 weeks will go. I wanted to say hi though, because I may not be on many of our Friday calls. I've got some upcoming PTO coming. So thank you for those of you who are returning, and welcome to those of you who are brand new. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to James, and we'll see you at the end.
Hey everybody, sorry, there we go. Froze. Now I'm back. Welcome. Welcome everybody. Happy to be here. As Alicia said, I'm James, and this is ACT program, Adjusting to Change Toolkit. And this is going to be our holiday edition. So we're going to do things a little bit differently this go around. I want to start off. So I've got like camera here and computer here. Can we get a show of hands? Not like the little hand raise, that's difficult to see, but send up an emoji, a heart, a thumbs up. If this is your first time taking any of our adjusting to change toolkits, our stress management classes, whatever it is. So we've got a couple of new folks here. Welcome. And then just for a show of hands, just so we can see, send up an emoji now if you are returning. If this is somewhere you've been before and you kind of know what to expect. Cool. We got a bunch of returners. So thank you so much for returning and joining us again. This class will hopefully build upon some of the stuff we covered the last 6-week period. And again, some of the stuff that we've covered for quite a few years now when it comes to stress, anxiety, overwhelm, nervous system regulation, and all of that. For those of you who are just joining us, we're going to bring you along. I made up a little bit of a syllabus that will kind of guide the next 6 weeks. The distinction between this class and a lot of classes that are often offered free is, and even stuff that we've done in the past, while you can jump in at any single one of these classes, right? They are all standalone experiences, meaning each and every week. We have 6 weeks, so 6 classes. You can jump in. So if you have a friend, a relative, a coworker who you're like, oh, you should come to this thing, feel free to invite them. Having said that, this also runs like a course where we are building upon lesson after lesson. So we're going to kind of stack some things. So the more classes you come to, the more you will get out of it. Again, for those of you who've been here before, we're going to do a lot of repeating on things because I need repetition in my own self. Because sometimes you don't even realize like what is settling in, what's been metabolized, what's been processed out of the work. I can tell you that with all of the current events that have been going on in the world, everything, you know, everything on the news, everything on the TV, I have been actually, stressed, anxious, disassociating, numb, all of the things. But I've been really proud to witness to, and I didn't realize it for the first couple of days, but I've been really proud to watch how my nervous system has grown more resilient, more fortuitous over the last few years. Does that mean I'm not losing sleep? Does that mean I'm not stressed? Does that mean absolutely not, because I'm alive? That's part of aliveness. But knowing what to do with it so you don't get stuck in it, so that your days don't feel worse by the choices you're making. I have witnessed, and not even explicitly, not even on purpose, just the choices that my nervous system is making. And what it's looked like for me is reaching out to people and then having moments of like quiet time. It's funny, we all know, we have all played a game or are familiar with a game that equal signs good nervous system regulation. It's something we teach our children, and that's called the peekaboo game. Your nervous system loves daily and in the moment to have moments where your nervous system reaches out to other people and moments of retreat where it's like, nope, no more people. Reaches out and then comes back in. If we're constantly in the need to like be around and associated and amongst people and feeding off that energy, dysregulated nervous system. And if we are feeling the need to like close the door, hide, not be around people all the time, dysregulated nervous system, it's the ability to kind of, peekaboo, like I'm with you and now I'm away. I'm with you and now I'm away. So how do I notice that? Well, that's where we're going to start with this. And how I'm able to notice this is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the ability to notice these things. And so today's session is going to be on mindfulness and what it means, right? Mindfulness does not equal sign meditation. Meditation is a version of mindfulness. It is one of the many practices you can do to cultivate, generate, and understand mindfulness in your own body. And if you've joined us before, you know that the version or the definition of mindfulness that we work with here in CommunityFIT is from Dr. Ellen Langer, Harvard professor and mother of mindfulness. We are coming at mindfulness from a scientific perspective, from an empirical case studied perspective. And we're also acknowledging that all of the mystical traditions, all of the long-standing ancient traditions, all of the practices, all of the somatic practices, all of the embodiment practices, anthropology are all pointing to the same exact thing: mindfulness, self-awareness. But I love the language from Dr. Ellen Langer. And the language is mindfulness is the ability to notice, to be aware of context and variability. Context and variability. So context is what is going on inside of me. What am I experiencing? For to get technical, it is interoception. It is the ability to notice things inside of the body. Even better if it's neuroception. Neuroception is your innate internal ability to discern, is my nervous system having a thumbs up moment or a thumbs down moment? Do I feel good right now? Do I feel safe and supported and secure right now? Or do I feel the opposite? Do I feel unsafe, insecure, in danger in any given moment? And so it's ability to notice what's going on inside of me in relationship to what is going on outside of me. What room am I in? What time of day is it? Who am I with? What is going on around me? And how is that impacting me? And in turn, how I'm feeling, how I'm showing up, how you're showing up, influencing and impacting the world around you? How is how you're feeling affecting your kids, affecting your spouse, affecting your team members? And in turn, how they're showing up to the moment affecting you? It's that relational intelligence, peekaboo moments, right? So context, what is going on in me in relationship to what is going on around me and what is going on symbiotically there. Variability is acknowledging that at any moment, anything can and will change. If someone walks out of the room, context changes, there's potential for me to feel differently. If the time of day is different, the time of year is different, things will impact me differently. Context has shifted. If I feel differently, if you feel differently, things can change. And so it's noticing context, what's going on around me, how's it affecting me, what's going on there, and the ability to spot that it's not always like that. Things can change. There is a growth capability within you, within the world around us, within relationships, that things can shift and do shift. And so mindfulness is the ability to spot what is going on in me in relationship to the world around me. And can I notice that it can change, sometimes quite literally, second to second, minute to minute, hour by hour, and if not, day by day, moment by moment, season by season. And it's the ability to just kind of notice those things, that not everything is the same all the time, and things have the capability to shift and change. So that's mindfulness, and it is the thing that unlocks everything else we're going to be learning. And so, how have I been able to spot how well my practices are going over years, right? The fact that I'm able to this week navigate and be with the ups and the downs and not need to change it, but just be with whatever I'm feeling and show up, and specifically in a compassionate sort of way, which is going to be one of our lessons, one of the weeks. The ability to just kind of show up with and acknowledge what you have to give in the moment. How I was able to notice that is having practiced mindfulness. And so it's the ability to gauge how you're doing in the moment, which puts us like a pause before we react to things. It puts a pause. So we have a moment of discernment. We have a moment of autonomy. We have a moment of choice. And one of my longstanding teachers, John F. Barnes, who is an embodiment work genius, studied with him a lot. John F. Barnes, one of my favorite quotes by him is, "Without choice, there is no freedom." And so if we feel like there is no choice going on, we're being forced to do something. Something is forcing itself upon us, that there's not options out there. Your nervous system does not feel free. And free equal sign, joy, capable, productive, relationally intelligent, able to be in the moment, right? So there's a lot riding on that ability to notice choice. And I have to say all that up front because mindfulness is often like, yep, got it, James, mindfulness, got it. We already know that one. Heard it a bunch. You can't hear it enough. We can't practice it deeply enough. We can't practice it over time enough. It is a all the time practice. And sometimes you're going to get it wrong. You're going to forget a whole bunch, and that's fine too. It's over time, is this thing a priority? And mindfulness is literally like even the work I do with organizations now. And so it shows up in all of these different ways. And so, why is it so important this time of year, even outside of what is going on in the world? It's what happens this time of year. Contexts shift. We go all year long and it's like routine, and it gets to holiday time, and there's all of these added expectations. And now we have to show up to these parties or buy these gifts or prepare this food. Seasons change, daytime, light things change, hours change on us. It's like the world changes, and it changes in a way where it still looks the same, it still functions the same, things just feel differently. And so mindfulness is an invitation to pay attention how that like imperceivable shift in things is affecting you in ways that maybe you're aware of, and in more ways that you are probably not aware of. And how is that mindlessness, not being aware of how you're being affected by things, affecting your nervous system, causing you to lose sleep, be more anxious, be a little frozen, be a little numb, be a little disagreeable, be a little too overly agreeable, whatever it is, whatever your indicator marks are? How is it shifting you in ways that you would like to have more choice around, so that you can discern when to say yes to something, when to say no to something, when to put brakes on something, when to retreat, and when to be social again, right? That's the things we're going to kind of cover over the next few weeks. And the way I teach, because I'm not a psychologist, although I've studied a lot of psychology, it's not my ministry. I'm a somatic therapist. I'm an embodiment person. I teach everything through the lens of nervous system and felt sense. So we're going to practice mindfulness through the lens of our bodies. And that's where we're going to start. I want to just go over to give you a little framework of what we're going to be covering. There's always some wiggle room in here. But next week, we're going to learn the toolkit. So those of you who have been with us for a while, you know the toolkit and you know the exercises in the toolkit. And I hope by now you've started to add exercises to your toolkit. So we have mindfulness and we have toolkit. I have to look over at my notes. Then we're going to cover compassion. We're going to go over gratitude. The next week, still debating, a couple of options. And then we always end with a recap. So we've got some lessons we're going to learn along the way, and we are always focusing on our felt sense, our embodied experience, meaning every single lesson is about you and your body. And then it kind of turns into, well, how does that relate? How does that equal sign? How can I practice that with other people? And that's the switch. But it always, 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 the rest of the weeks do not work without mindfulness. And we'll go over mindfulness and the theories a little bit less, but every single week. So mindfulness. Here is an option. One of the many ways we can practice it in the body. One of the many, many, many ways. Invitation is pay attention to your breathing right now. And just notice, without the need to judge, without the need to critique, and specifically without the need to change anything. Just notice. How is your breathing right now? And I'm going to be that general with it for the next 10, 15 seconds. You're just going to notice. And then to get a little more specific, just notice. Don't change anything. Are you breathing through your nose or are you breathing through your mouth? Without the need to make something bigger or less big, does it feel like the way you're breathing is satiating? Does it feel enough? Does it feel nourishing? Or is it too much? Is it like too much of a good thing? Or is it not enough of a good thing? Without the need to change, you're just noticing. When you inhale and exhale, does it feel like it's happening? Are you aware? Does it bring attention to your chest area? Does it bring attention to your back area? Your right ribs or your left rib area? Your belly? Your throat? Your shoulders? Like what lights up as you breathe? And you're just noticing. Now, for some people, breath is a really easy thing to notice. And for others, it's not so much. So another option might be to notice, just notice physical tension in the body. Physical tension is a really good indicator of nervous system states. Not that it doesn't happen, but it happens far, far, far less than what you might imagine. When your neck and your shoulders are bothering you, it is far less likely that you slept wrong, that you tweaked your neck in some way. It is far less likely that there's an outside of you culprit that is influencing your experience of your neck and shoulders more than neck and shoulder tension is a symptom of your nervous system being in fight or flight, being prepared to what we would call mobilize, meaning your nervous system is picking up a perceived or a real threat or danger somewhere, right? And it can be that perceived make believe, right? This thing is going to happen, but is it really going to happen? Or real? There's a lion walking into the room. I have to give a presentation that I would rather not. My really horrible in-law is coming over, and I just know that they're going to fill in the blank, right? Perceived or real, and it will symptomize in the neck for so many people. Same in the hips. Hips, legs, even feet. Fight or flight. It's ready to mobilize. I got to get up and out of here for the real or perceived threat. Sometimes it's in our gut. Sometimes it's in our breathing. That's more instead of fight or flight, that's a freeze response. The threat feels so dangerous, perceived or real, that my belly is quite literally beginning to shut down, my breath kind of shutting down on me, right? So just noticing physical tension. And is it a lot of tension? Is it like nothing tension? Or is it somewhere in that spectrum? And would you like to shift it? And just noticing without critiquing, just noticing. So you can notice your breath, you can notice the tension. The last one that is most easy in your body to kind of notice is heart rate. Does it feel like your heart rate is racing? Sign of mobilization, like I got to get out of here. Something is going to happen. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, it feels like my heart rate is so low that I have no energy to do something, that it would feel a lot of effort to even get up and out of the chair. It's a sign of a freeze response. So just noticing the heartbeat and just noticing. So I can be mindful, aware of my breathing patterns, my physical tension, or my heart. So racing and fluttering, or is it overly relaxed? Because neither end of the spectrum is great, right? When people say, I wish I could just be calm and relaxed all the time. In fact, no, you don't mean that. If you were calm and relaxed all the time, you quite literally couldn't get work done. You quite literally could not feel pleasure or joy. Quite literally would not be funny. You quite literally would not be able to hold good conversations with people. If you were anxious and mobilized and productive all the time, you quite literally wouldn't be able to go to sleep, quite literally wouldn't be able to experience joy in the body. So these extremes are not great. The ability to touch or be in the extreme with choice. Oh, I want to experience this and I have access to this, ups and downs. That's wonderful. That is a healthy nervous system. The ability to feel anxious and excited, and the ability to feel depressed and relaxed. Boop, ups and downs. So what we're just gauging right now is on that spectrum, where are you? Where are you right now on that spectrum? And then let's just begin to switch a context just a little bit to express our point. I'd like you to just sit in whatever chair you're sitting. And can you allow yourself to feel a little more supported by the chair? Maybe you let your low and mid back kind of sink backwards into it. Maybe you allow your butt cheeks to feel a little more sunk and a little more wide. Maybe you let your arms rest on the armchair, the arms of the chair a little bit more. Maybe you let your feet feel a little more grounded. And maybe for the first time today, you are aware you have feet that are touching the floor. And just be there. Not pushing into the chair, not doing anything, but almost as if you're yielding to the chair, like you are allowing the chair to hold and support you. Maybe a good visual here is like you're sinking into a supportive hug with the chair, like you're allowing yourself to be held. And for some of you, that might make things worse. For a lot of you, that might make things better. How do you know? You check in. You check in with your breath. You check in with wherever you feel tension. Check in with your heart rate. And you just notice, did anything shift? Did anything shift? Now, you'll learn more about this in the toolkit next week, but as you're letting yourself yield into the chair and you're just noticing, start to look around your space just a little bit. And it's like you're receiving your room. You're looking above you, into the left, into the right. And maybe you stop or you pause on something very particular in your space, an object, a view that brings you a lot of joy. It's like you're centering, you are making a conscious choice to center, to prioritize, and to focus in on something that brings you joy. Examples might include your dog, or you can look at Bob sleeping over here, a dog, a favorite photo, a picture, a painting, a view. Like if you've got a window and you can see trees blowing a little bit, that might be what it is you choose to focus on. So I'm allowing myself to sink into the chair, to feel wide and supported in the chair, to have my back touched by the chair. I'm looking at whatever is in my space that brings joy, sparks a little interest, that brings comfort. And so I'm having a very physical experience in my body of being supported. And I am intentionally making the choice to look at something that brings me joy. And I'm just going to notice. Did that or how did that affect my breathing or my tension or my heart? And I'm just noticing. Now, for some of you, that might be revelatory, right? It may be the first time you have ever thought about your breath. It may be the first time you ever thought about tension or your heart, how a chair can support you, the idea, the concept of spotting and centering something that brings joy. And if so, maybe just be there. Maybe just be there. Or you can now, eyes open or eyes closed, notice somewhere in your body right now, anywhere in your body that feels like it's got some extra space to it. Like there's not an ache, not a pain. Maybe it's even hard to sense into because there's so much space. Like quite literally the cells in the body have more space. It might be in your throat, might be in a shoulder or a foot, might be the lower body or the upper body. It might be your heart, might be your kidneys, might be your fate. Like I don't know where it is. Somewhere that feels extra spacious. And if you're in that practice right now, start to language it. What does extra spacious feel like? If I had to put some felt sense words onto it, and I'm being really particular there, felt sense versus making sense. Making sense is it feels spacious because it's being held by the chair, like James said. And I did a workout. I got a massage yesterday. So everything feels that's making sense. That's an excuse. That's a linear thought, which is great. It's not what we're looking for. Felt sense is I notice space, and that to me feels cool or warm. It feels red or blue. Feels like the ocean or Sedona Desert. Feels like nighttime or daytime, or it feels like play or rest. I don't know. I don't know what words might come up to start to define spacious. But whatever it is, just explore it. Get curious about it. And then if you can, notice somewhere that feels in your body, somewhere that feels the opposite of spacious. Maybe it feels congested or tight. You might even notice it by using the opposite words to define it. Meaning, if the spacious area felt cool, cold, open, maybe the non-spacious area feels closed and hot, warm, fiery. I don't know. So many options and choices. I can't tell you how to sense. I can't tell you what experience will feel like. I can just kind of help guide you towards some languages and options. And then just notice that in your body, in your experience right now, is somewhere something that feels spacious and something that feels the opposite of that. And mindfulness is the ability to toggle between both. I can notice this and I can notice this. And the goal is to be able to notice practiced mindfulness, its ability to notice that both exist simultaneously, that complexity is innate to aliveness in my body, in your body right now, is somewhere that feels hot and somewhere that feels cold. Right now, inside of you is space and lacking space. And if not, there are practices and experiences that can begin to unlock and shift and make more aware here and here. So, your homework for the next week is to just practice some mindfulness. Maybe it's in your body. Best yet, pick up your cell phone, set a timer every 45 minutes for 1 p.m., for 7:05 p.m., and just take an inventory of what it is that you notice in the moment. And maybe even library it or journal over time. How is Monday different than Tuesday, different than Wednesday? Just notice. That's going to be the thing that helps unlock the rest of the series. I'll invite Alicia back if she has anything to say, but if not, our time is done today. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome, James. Thank you. I don't have anything huge to say, just my experience doing these mindfulness practices. What always comes to mind when I'm done is I feel a lightness in my body, so light.
Yeah.
And so what I try to remember is that feeling. And so throughout the day, when I start swinging more toward the stress and the anxious,
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of close my eyes for a moment, take a breath, and try to go back to that light,
Yeah.
spacious feeling. And that
Yeah.
helps. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys for showing up today. We got a lot of appreciation going. Yep. For those of you who want to see more, we've got Sleeping Bob right over
Bob.
there.
My pups are in the crate right now. They were being a little too rambunctious.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I got to run today. I appreciate it. Wonderful. And I will see you all next week. Bye, Alicia.
Bye, guys.